Hey guys, today I will be plotting out this 2020 electoral map based on the 2016 swings we saw in favor for Joe Biden and Donald Trump. So in 2016, of course, according to the polls, Hillary Clinton was expected to win the 2016 election. However, of course, she did not. She lost by over 60 electoral votes. But today I want to take a look at how the map would look if Joe Biden were to underperform in those states and even outperform the polls in some other states like Clinton and Trump did in 2016. So first, I'm gonna fill in the solid and likely Biden and Trump states. These states, if it swings a little bit, it really doesn't matter. It's still gonna be solid or likely. So I'm just going to fill these in states first and leave the battleground states last, either the same battleground and likely and solid states from my video yesterday. Now, I think that this map is definitely going to shock a lot of you. I think it definitely shocked me. I did not expect to see some of the results that we're going to be seeing just later on. So most of the Northeast as well as the West Coast is all solid for Joe Biden. New York and Illinois are also solid, and the likely states are currently Virginia, Colorado, and New Mexico. And the second district of Maine is currently a lean state, and the second district of Nebraska, not state, or district, is currently a likely district. I'm not going to talk about these districts in this video just because there's not enough data from 2016 to compare it to, and the first district is solid while the second district is likely. So this puts Joe Biden up at 214 electoral votes, and for President Trump, I'm going to be putting in his likely and solid states as well. Montana, Utah are going to be the likely states, as well as Alaska, North Dakota solid, Nebraska at large is going to be likely, first, third district definitely solid, Kansas is likely, Missouri is likely, Oklahoma, most of the South right now is definitely solid for the president, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia are solid, while the state of Indiana is a likely state. So this puts Donald Trump up at 125 electoral votes to Joe Biden with 214. So Joe Biden has an almost 100 electoral vote advantage over the president coming into this scenario. So currently, there are 199 toss-up electoral votes that are still up for grabs out of the 2020 battleground states. And like yesterday, I'm going to go from basically left to right, I guess, in a little bit of a circle here. So Sunbelt first, then Rust Belt, then New Hampshire, and then the Southeast. So starting off with the state of Nevada in 2016, the Democrats were able to outperform here by 3.2%. As you can see, Trump was expected to carry this state according to the polls in 2016. Clinton was able to win this state by 2.4%. And looking at the numbers now, Joe Biden is up 5.5%. So if we were to apply this 3.2% swing in favor of the Democrats, Joe Biden will carry the state of Nevada by 8.7%, moving it from being in the lean column as it is now to the state of Nevada being a likely state. So Nevada, I'm going to be put into the likely Democratic column, along with Virginia, Colorado, and New Mexico, which we have already classified. Following that, the state of Arizona. Currently, Arizona is polling in favor of Joe Biden by 5%, or 4.5% right now. But if we were to take a look at the 2016 results, Trump won the state by 3.5%, was expected to win by 4%. So he underperformed by a margin of 0.5%. And if we were to take a look at the 2016 data, as you can see, it is all very close here. But in 2016, Donald Trump definitely underperformed by 0.5%, which is a 5% uptick for Joe Biden. So he would carry the state of Arizona by 5%, making it a lean state in favor of the former vice president. The state of Texas is next, 38 electoral votes. This is the most shocking state in my opinion, and I have talked about this before, but in the state of Texas, the Republican Party does tend to underperform. Currently, Donald Trump leads by 0.8% in the state of Texas, and looking at the 2016 numbers, yes, Donald Trump underperformed in 2016 by 2.7%, which means that according to the 2016 swing, if applied to the state of Texas in 2020, Joe Biden would carry the state of Texas by a whole 1.9%, making the state of Texas a tilt state in favor of Joe Biden. So that, I think, is the most surprising call so far. Following that, we have the state of Minnesota, also going to be very, very close. Now, there's really no average here, but I took the average of the two polls that were released in late October, so Clinton plus 11 and Clinton plus 8. That would give me an average of Clinton plus 10.5 or 9.5. And so that would mean that Donald Trump would have outperformed the polls here by a margin of 8%, which means that if this were to occur and were to occur in 2020, Joe Biden leads by 9.1% here. Joe Biden would carry the state by 1.1%. So that is going to be another tilt state in favor of Joe Biden. So he would underperform the polls in the state of Minnesota, winning it by a smaller margin than Clinton did in 2016. I did do the math wrong there, that's why I did stutter a little bit in the middle of that there. Following that, the state of Iowa. The state of Iowa, I think, is also pretty interesting. This is a very good sign for the Trump campaign if this were to really actually occur on election night. In the state of Iowa, Donald Trump was expected to win this state by just 3%. He went on and won this state by a whole 9.5%, outperforming the polls by over 3 times the percentage of victory he was expected to have. When we take a look at the polls here, Donald Trump never even led by 7%, and he won the state by 9.5%. So definitely the polls were not correct in 2016, but I think that if those polls were so off, definitely a lot of changes have been made in the polling conducted now. And, it's been announced that the polls have been improved. The data is expected to be much more accurate than it was in 2016, because before this, we really did not have this problem. Before this, there were barely any surprises. The candidate that we thought was going to win would typically win the election. But now, Donald Trump was expected to lose, but he won the race, and now a lot of people are counting these polls, but these polls are not as inaccurate as you may think. So the state of Iowa right now is polling in favor of Trump by just 1.8%. So according to the swing, Biden would lose this state by a whole 8.3% to President Trump. So Iowa would actually become a likely state on this map, joining states like Missouri and Kansas, which I think that at this point in the 2020 race is pretty surprising, because we see that the numbers in Iowa have really gotten very close between Trump and Biden. The state of Wisconsin is next. Clinton was expected to carry the state by 6.5%. Trump carried it by 0.7%. This was the only state in 2016 where Clinton was expected to carry the state, even after considering the margin of error. The margin of error being these numbers here. The average of the margin of error did show that Clinton was expected to carry the state, but Trump ended up winning the state. So if you take a look at some other states in the future, we're going to take a look at Michigan in just a couple of moments, but you're going to see that in the state of Michigan, Donald Trump still had a chance of carrying that state. So this is an overperformance in favor of the president by a margin of 7.2% in 2016. Taking a look at the 2020 numbers, Biden leads here by 6.4%. So this does mean that Donald Trump would win the state of Wisconsin once again by an even larger margin of 0.8%. So 0.8% is going to go into the Trump column as a tilt state. This is not my prediction. I don't think this is going to happen. This is just a very interesting map. And yes, Joe Biden has crossed 260 electoral votes, or 70 electoral votes, with Michigan, of course, Texas giving Joe Biden the 38 electoral votes that he needed. So the state of Michigan is next. Trump won the state by 0.3%. Clinton was expected to carry it by 3.6%. But if we take a look at the margin of error, the averages of these margins is larger than 3.6%. So according to the margin of error, Donald Trump, yes, he did have a chance of carrying the state of Michigan, but not Wisconsin. That's why it was the only state that Clinton was almost 100% expected to carry, but did not. With Michigan did have a chance of going to Trump. So taking a look at the 2020 numbers here, Joe Biden's doing much better, is currently leading by 7.6%. So if the swing were to be applied to the 2020 numbers right now, the state of Michigan would vote in favor of Joe Biden by just 3.7%. So that would be a lean Democratic state. And as you can see, the polls did definitely underestimate Donald Trump's support in the Rust Belt in 2016. Taking a look at the next state, the state of Ohio. Currently, Donald Trump, not currently, but in 2016, Trump was leading by 2.2%, won it all the way, by 8.1%. This was a state that went to Barack Obama in 2016, or not 2016, 2012. I'm sorry, I can't talk today, but the state of Ohio went to Barack Obama in 2008 and 2012, but Clinton lost it. As you can see at the beginning, or basically most of the race, actually all the way up until September, Clinton was expected to carry the state of Ohio. This was still a Democratic state. It had voted with the Democrats in the last 2 elections, and it was expected to go to Barack Obama, or not Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton. I'm really sorry. I don't know why I'm I can't really talk today. But the state of Ohio was expected to go to Hillary Clinton in 2016 after going to Obama both times. But Clinton was unable to carry this state, and she lost it by a whole 8.1%. And Trump currently leads by 1.5% over Joe Biden, which means that if these, this very good swing for Trump were to actually occur again in 2020, Donald Trump would carry the state of Ohio by 7.4%, making the state of Ohio another likely state. Taking a look at the state of Pennsylvania, which is next on my list, Trump was winning this state by 0.7%. He was expected to lose this state by a margin of 2.1% to Secretary Clinton, but he was able to pull off a victory here by 0.7%. So that is a swing of 2.8% in favor of President Trump. And as you can see in 2020, Joe Biden leads by 4.5%. So even if Trump were to outperform the polls in Pennsylvania, he would still lose the state to Joe Biden by a margin of 2.7%. So this map, I think, would actually even be better for Joe Biden than the current map, just because of the state of Texas and just the amount of percentage points or the electoral votes that it gives Joe Biden. Following this, we have the state of New Hampshire. So the state of New Hampshire, Clinton was expected to win it by 0.3%. She won it by 0.3%. This race was very close. I don't know how it got this close in New Hampshire. Definitely Clinton made some mistakes here, but 0.3%, 0.3%. So there's really no change. It's an easy one. Biden's going to win this state by 6.6% again, according to this model. So New Hampshire is going to go into the lean Biden column, 6.6% in favor of the vice president. Next, we have the state of North Carolina. Taking a look at the state of North Carolina, Trump was able to outperform the polls here by 2.8%. This is New Hampshire. North Carolina, Donald Trump was able to win the state by 3.6% after leading in the state on election night by just 0.8%. So after applying this swing in favor of the president, the state of North Carolina would flip from Biden to Trump, which means that Donald Trump would be able to carry the state by a margin of 1.6%, meaning that it's going to be a tilt state in favor of Donald Trump here in the state of North Carolina. The state of Georgia is next. The state of Georgia currently 1% polling in favor of Donald Trump. This state swung in favor of the president by 0.3% in 2016, expected to win 4.8%, won 5.1% of the vote over Hillary Clinton, and as you can see here, he would win this state by 1.3% in 2020, so Georgia is also going to go into the tilt Republican column. And then following this, the state of Florida. This is the final state. Biden currently leads by 2% here. The Republicans were able to outperform in this state by a margin of 0.8%. I don't have the numbers here for some reason, but Donald Trump won this state by a margin of 1.2% after only leading in it by a margin of 0.4%. So Donald Trump was able to outperform, but even though if this were to occur in 2020 once again, Joe Biden would still carry the state by a margin of 1.2%, so that is going to go into the tilt Biden column as the last Democratic state, giving Joe Biden 348 electoral votes to Donald Trump with 190. Now, this map is not going to happen. Biden is not going to win Texas. Donald Trump is probably not going to win Wisconsin, nor is he going to win North Carolina. I think North Carolina, I could see it going to both ways, but in my opinion, it's going to go to Joe Biden. So this is not my prediction. Minnesota is going to be stronger. Iowa is going to be weaker. Ohio is going to be weaker for the president. Georgia might be a little bit stronger. But if the 2016 polling swings were to occur again, which a lot of people are saying it is, this is what's going to happen. If 2016 happened once again and the polls were wrong, just like they were 4 years ago, Texas would go to Joe Biden. Florida would also go to Joe Biden, but he is still expected to win that state anyways. But Wisconsin, surprisingly, would go to Donald Trump. So this map, I think, is definitely pretty interesting to look at and pretty surprising when you actually consider the swings that occurred in 2016. Trump definitely did much better than the polls expected in the Rust Belt. So as you can see, the Rust Belt is much safer for President Trump than the actual polls right now show him to be in this area. The state of North Carolina and Georgia are both more solid for the president, as well as the state of Florida. But the state of Texas, the Republicans do always seem to underperform here. The GOP is overestimated in the state of Texas, and if this were to really occur, Joe Biden would carry the state. So that is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please consider leaving a like on this video, as well as subscribing to my channel. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, along with any video suggestions for videos you'd like to see from me in the future, and I will see you in the next one.